Hi, Leah here from Alpine Physical Therapy. Thanks for tuning in. We are here today to wrap up our two-part series on nutrition for sport and are excited to go over the topic of when to eat, just helping you decide and determine when it's best to fuel your body. So let's get started. There are two important times to consider for your pregame meal or snack. One is a full meal about 3 to 4 hours prior to your event. So if you can't get it in 3 to 4 hours, then 60 to 90 minutes is also totally fine. You just might want to change the portions that you're getting. So if you are looking at like a pasta lunch and you have an event at 5 p.m., that's probably totally fine. But if you maybe have an event at 9 in the morning and you need to get some fuel in your body right when you wake up, you don't want to have a huge portion. So that's when you can go for like the toast with bananas or fresh fruit, some granola and yogurt. If it's a lunchtime break in between two events, then something simple like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a great source of protein and carbohydrate that you can get for your body. And then right before your event, so within about 30 minutes or right around 30 minutes before your training, just giving yourself a little bit of extra carbohydrate fuel can be super helpful. Just make sure that you are hydrating as well. So a quick carbohydrate fuel is also going to be found in your fresh fruits. It's probably the easiest way. You can grab a granola bar and or look at some of the simpler, snack bars, protein bars, or gummy snacks. Let's go into the event itself. So you don't really need a whole lot of fuel during your event unless your event is going to be closer to that 90 to 120 minute mark. So I think, I'm a soccer player, so I always think of soccer games, and when I was a kid and somebody's mom always brought oranges that we could eat at halftime, that's great. I thought it was just, something as a special treat, but in the end it actually is something that is helping fuel our bodies so that we can make it through the second half. Other ideas for a quick halftime snack, or if you're a runner and you can't really pack your pockets with oranges, you can put in some simple granola bars or again gummy snacks, or they make goos and all these fancy sport nutrition kind of focused little meals that you can fit in your pocket. So you can definitely go for those, or you can just keep it simple and find a granola bar, a pile of blueberries that you can eat quickly. I also have a picture of water and Gatorade up here. Fluids, again, super important if you're exercising, especially if it's warm outside and you know that you're sweating a lot. So you can grab a Gatorade or just drink some water, whatever your preference is. Gatorade, Powerade, some of those sports drinks come with more carbohydrates and electrolytes in them. So that's why they're pretty popular as an alternative to water for sporting events. Electrolytes are going to be your sodium and potassium, which are what actually helps your muscles kind of pump. So it keeps the ion channels flowing and keeps your body moving, to kind of simplify what electrolytes do for you. So if you're feeling a little extra fatigued and need a boost, a sport drink can be really helpful partway through an event. So got before event, during the event, let's look at what happens right after. And honestly, I think this is probably the biggest missed opportunity to really fuel your body and most importantly, help it recover, especially if you have another event coming up pretty soon thereafter. So if you're an athlete that has multiple games in a day, or you are running a race on one day and then have a basketball game the next day, or you have some other activity planned, your recovery meal is just as important as any pregame meal that you're gonna plan for yourself. So really important is what you do within the hour, 45 minutes post-event. So 45 minutes to 1 hour is what that should read. But after you're done with your activity, you wanna try to find something that can give you a little bit of carbohydrate, protein, and some fluid to replenish your system. We talked in part one about how proteins are the building blocks for your body, so your muscles get little micro tears and get damaged a little bit during exercise. And it's important that there's some protein in your post-game meal that just helps you with recovery. So some quick ones, there's cheese sticks, meat sticks, chocolate milk is a really well-balanced, actually, recovery beverage. You can go for different types of smoothies. Also really easy to try to grab and eat right after an event. And then when you're looking down the road or a little, a couple hours later, what you need to do, your system kind of settles down and then hunger hits. A lot of people aren't hungry right after they're done, but getting a little post-recovery or post-event recovery meal in right afterwards, and then looking at 2 hours afterwards, really trying to find a balanced meal. So something where you get your carbohydrate, your protein, your fat, and your fluids. And this can be chicken or fish on a bed of rice. It can be your pasta meal with some vegetables on the side or a salad on the side. There's a picture down here of a turkey wrap with some carrots. Anything along these lines where you're getting your combination of carbohydrate, protein, and fats, and then drinking plenty of water afterwards is going to be extremely important for your post-game snack and meal. So a quick recap for you guys just on parts 1 and 2 of this Nutrition for Sport. Just making sure that you look at your meal in terms of 2 main things. One is, what is on my plate? And really trying to optimize when you're eating your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats based on what your activity is going to be and what combination of those. To keep it pretty simple, your carbohydrates you can have with pretty much any meal. So they're great for pregame, during the event, and post. They're your main energy source for that moderate to high intensity activity, and we tend to burn through them pretty quickly. So you want to make sure to reload with 1 serving of carbohydrate for every hour of exercise. Fats are next. Fat's the other one that we're going to burn and actually use for energy during activity. And your fats you want to have in your pre-game meal and your post-game meal. They aren't as readily absorbed into our body and available for energy if you try to eat a fat right before, during, or right after. So those snacks that are your kind of prep and your recovery, fats are a little bit harder for your system to digest and actually have available for energy. So you kind of save those for your pre-game meal and your post-game meal. And then the last one is protein. Protein we don't use as much during activity. It's not really a source of energy, but it does help with energy. So proteins are more your building blocks for structure. And protein you want to have pre-event, and then you want to definitely have some protein right afterwards in that first hour after exercise, just to help with your recovery so that your body can kind of repair any damaged muscle tissue and help get your system ready for the next event. So hopefully that breaks down a little bit of the mysteriousness of sport nutrition. It can get pretty complex out there with all of the information. Thanks a lot for tuning in today, and I hope that you stay with us and stay tuned for our next topic.